8 Early Indications of Vascular Dementia. Most people overlook number 3, which is that your mom forgot where she parked the car again. In 1 hour, your dad asked you the same thing 3 times. You could have assumed it was just regular aging. But what if I told you that these times could be early warning signals of something much worse that doctors can help with, if you catch it early enough? Vascular dementia is the second most common type of dementia after Alzheimer's. It affects millions of people over the age of 60. And here's what shocked me when I looked into this. Most folks didn't see the first indicators for months or even years before going to the doctor. By that time, a lot of damage has already been done. This video will show you 8 early warning indicators of vascular dementia that everyone over 60 should know about. Sign number 3 is so small that even people who live in the same house as the person who is sick don't see it. But once you know what to look for, you can't miss it. I need to be very clear about something before we start. This movie is strictly for educational purposes. If you or someone you care about shows any of these indicators, you need to see a doctor right away. A doctor is the only person who can correctly diagnose vascular dementia. These indications don't prove anything on their own, but they should make you want to see a specialist. Now let's look at the indications that could save someone's mental health if they are discovered early. Number 8. You suddenly have trouble planning or arranging. This isn't about forgetting an appointment or losing your keys every once in a while. We're talking about someone who has been able to plan out tasks in order for decades, suddenly losing that skill. Think about this. Your dad has been making his renowned Sunday breakfast for 20 years. He knows the recipe by heart. Eggs, toast, bacon, and coffee, always in that sequence. Then one Sunday, you see something strange? He seems bewildered as he stands in the kitchen. The toast is cold, but the eggs are scorching. The coffee hasn't been made yet. He seems to be stuck in a routine that he could accomplish with his eyes closed just a few months ago. This is what doctors call executive function deterioration, and it's often one of the first indicators of vascular dementia. This is why this happens. Vascular dementia happens when blood flow to the brain is limited, mainly because of minor strokes or damaged blood vessels. When these small strokes happen in parts of the brain that help with planning and organizing, the person abruptly loses skills they had the day before. The important term is sudden. Alzheimer's disease usually gets worse slowly over many years. Vascular dementia often shows up in big steps. Someone is doing fine, then has a mild stroke. All of a sudden, their skills plummet to a new, lower level. The Journal of Neurology says that about 60% of people with vascular dementia have problems with executive function, which means they have trouble with things like planning and organizing. These problems often show up before memory problems do. The person can still remember things and recognize people, but they can't put those recollections together into a plan. Families often aid without understanding that something has changed, which is why this indicator is so easy to miss. You start to instinctively take over chores like paying the bills, arranging prescriptions, and making meals. You believe you're being helpful, but you're really hiding a significant warning sign that needs to be checked out by a doctor. Don't wait if you see a loved one suddenly having trouble with things they used to do effortlessly. Write down concrete examples of when the change started, then make an appointment with their doctor as soon as you can. Early intervention can decrease the progression of vascular dementia a lot, but there is another symptom that shows up even before issues with organization, and it includes anything happening when you sleep, which is indication number 7. More confusion or disorientation at night. This is called sundowning by doctors, and it's a strong early sign of vascular dementia that many people think is just being tired. This is what it really looks like. Your mom seems well all day, sharp, able to talk, and able to remember things. But as night falls, something changes and she starts to forget what day it is. She doesn't recall if she had dinner, She might even forget where she is or think she needs to be somewhere right away. This is a normal tiredness. It's a certain way that your brain gets worse, and it gets worse at night. The American Journal of Geriatric Psychiatry conducted a study that indicated that up to 20% of persons with dementia experience sundowning. It usually happens earlier in vascular dementia than in other types. What makes this happen? Your brain needs a steady flow of blood to work right. In vascular dementia, brain cells don't get enough oxygen and nutrients because the blood arteries are compromised. As the day goes on and the body gets exhausted, the brain has even fewer resources to work with. Areas that have previously been hurt by bad blood flow are having a hard time. The lower lighting in the evening also takes away visual signals that help someone with early cognitive loss find their way. Environmental cues help the brain stay centered during the day. When it gets dark, those supports go away, and things get more confusing. This indicator is especially crucial because it often shows up months before other signs do. Families often ignore it. They reassure themselves that their loved one is just tired. They could need more sleep, but this pattern of perplexity at night needs to be looked into right away. If you see this trend, write down what you see for 2 weeks. Make a note of the time of day when the disorientation starts, what causes it, and how long it lasts. This paperwork helps doctors figure out what's going on and make the right diagnosis. But now we come to the indicator that almost everyone misses, including doctors who do routine checks. The third sign is small alterations in how you walk or balance. This indicator shocks people the most because we don't think of brain health concerns as causing movement problems. But here's the truth. Your brain is telling you what's going on when you walk. Vascular dementia doesn't simply mess with your memory and thinking. It messes up the parts of the brain that control movement and coordination. And these changes often happen before any clear cognitive problems. A new study from the University of Toronto followed more than 4,000 persons over the age of 65 for 5 years. They found something very interesting. Changes in how fast and how long someone walked could predict a dementia diagnosis years before memory problems showed up. On average, people with vascular dementia showed these mobility alterations 3 years before they were diagnosed. Let me show you what these small changes really look like. Without recognizing it, the person starts to take shorter steps. When they need to ponder while walking, their speed slows down a lot. Instead of lifting their feet cleanly, they could shuffle slightly. They might not want to step off of curbs or through doorways right away. Their equilibrium gets worse, especially when they pivot or change direction. This is why it happens. Most individuals don't know that walking takes a lot of brain power. Your brain has to do a lot of things at once. Control your muscles, keep your equilibrium, analyze visual information, and plan your next move. When tiny strokes hurt the brain, they hurt the parts that control them. You can tell that walking is different. Gait apraxia is the medical word for this. The brain knows what it wants the body to accomplish, but it can't deliver clear signals to make it happen without problems. Families sometimes think these changes are just a typical part of getting older or arthritis, which is why this symptom is so easy to miss. They think their loved one is in pain or feeble since they are walking more slowly. But if you see any changes in your walking combined with other cognitive issues, you need to see a doctor right once. This mix of alterations in mobility and thinking is a sign of vascular dementia. If you see someone over 60 who is having problems walking, pay attention to whether they have greater trouble walking when they are talking or doing something else. This dual task difficulty is very telling because the brain can't do both tasks at the same time. If your blood flow is bad, you should have a full medical checkup that includes both cognitive testing and a neurological assessment. Don't let doctors brush off your walking troubles as being arthritis or becoming older. Make sure that a full investigation is done. Now let's talk about an indicator that most individuals don't realize is a problem in their regular talks. Sign number 6 is having problems finding the right words when you talk. It's natural for everyone to look for a word now and then, but there is a certain pattern of word-finding trouble that shows vascular dementia. The guy begins a sentence clearly. Then they suddenly halt in the middle of their thought. They know what they want to communicate. They know what they want to say, but they can't remember the exact word. They might use a similar word, like calling a fork a spoon or a car a truck, or they might describe the object instead of naming it. They call it the cold food box instead of the refrigerator. This happens a lot in one conversation. This is what studies have found. A research in the Journal of Alzheimer's Disease indicated that about half of people with vascular dementia had trouble identifying words in the first year after the disease starts.